Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So I've got lots of drills and batteries and chargers that are a bit of a mess. I've been charging stuff in the living room. It's about time I organised it all. So I had these pieces of OSB, Orientated Strand Board, that I found in a skip actually, and I wasn't sure what to do with them. So I thought I'd give it a go and try to make a drill charging station out of these pieces. So I started off by ripping them down on the table saw, and I matched up the drills to the wood to get a rough idea of the depth that I needed. So then I marked up some sides, so I needed 2 sides and 3 shelves. And at the top I wanted a curve, so I just used a paint can and drew around it. And as you can see, I've got 2 lengths there, and I'm just marking them up next to each other so they're exactly the same. And now I'm just making those cuts on the miter saw. So I then went ahead and cut out those curved parts with the jigsaw. So to add a bit of strength to the shelves, I decided to put these little support pieces in. And I screwed and glued those down. As you can see, there's 3 supports for 3 shelves. And that's all the support pieces in. This would also make it quite a bit easier for me to assemble the shelf as well. So I worked now on the bottom part where the drills are going to go, and I needed to work out some spacing so that the battery parts on the drills weren't banging into each other, so that there was enough space for each drill, and work out the depth as well. And to get a nice rounded edge, I just used a bottle cap to draw around. And the same again, I just used the jigsaw to cut that out. If you have a scroll saw or a band saw, I'd recommend using that. So I also wanted to put a back support on the shelf, and another support at the bottom where the drills were going to go, just so they didn't hit the wall, and you'll see how that goes in a moment. But for the back support, I wanted it to be quite big so that I could get quite a few screws in there to make it strong. So there's all the pieces laid out, and to put it all together I'm going to use some MDF screws, and they've got quite a nice deep thread on them to grab the wood, because this is like a particle, like strand type wood, so it's better to have a nice good thread on the screw. So again, I'm going to glue them and screw them now. And when you're using this OSB, you really need to pilot the holes, because it's a bit like chipboard, how it feels like it's going to split. This probably isn't the best material to use for a job like this, but I was just using what I had, and I thought I'd give it a go. So it turned out fine in the end. You just have to be careful when adding screws to this, especially if it's quite thin, like the stuff I'm using. So once the top and bottom shelf were in place, the shelf would be nice and square, and I could then work on all the other pieces. There you can see the bottom piece that I'm putting on, and that will protect the wall from any drill bits that are in the drills. When I put the drills into those slots, I don't want the bits hitting the wall. And this piece would also add support for those excuse me, those slotted parts. So here's the back piece, and I plan to put 4 screws on each side for this, and you can see it is tucked up against those supports under the first shelf, so it will have plenty of support when it's on the wall. So to finish it off, I decided to cut. I had some very thin pine off an old desk, and I decided to cut some thin strips just to finish give it a trim edge to the shelves, and it would also stop things falling off as well. Same again, screwed and nailed and glued. I just used some panel pins to attach it, and you can see I'm using a little piece of wood there as a guide, just to get it nice and level on the shelf. So now it's time to give it all a good sanding down, and I started off with an 80 grit and then I'll work my way down. I didn't need to go too low though for this because it is OSB, so it doesn't have a smooth surface anyway. I decided to finish it off with some silk emulsion, and that is like a pale grey colour. I wasn't sure if I liked the effect of the OSB board. I know some people do. I just thought it'd look better when it was all painted up. And I think I applied 2 or 3 coats in the end. It does soak up the paint quite a lot. So at this point I added an extension plug. If you're not comfortable with doing that, please seek the help of an electrician. So I added a plug in there so that I could use 2 chargers at once, and you'll just see that in a moment. So now I'm just putting it on the wall, and in the end I decided to use some thick wood screws to put it on the wall with washers. Originally I was going to use 2, but I used a third one at the bottom, and you'll see that in a moment. There's the bottom one, and there's the 2 at the top, just to make sure nothing ever comes down, because when it's got all the stuff on there it's quite heavy. So now it was just time to load it all up. And if you want to make one of these, I'd advise to measure your chargers if you want to get it sort of a snug fit. I measured mine to fit. So now I've got somewhere to put all my drills and chargers, which is great. And as you can see there, I can charge 2 batteries at once. So there you have it. It turned out okay in the end. I wasn't too keen on the look of the OSB, but let me know what you think in the comments below, whether or not you like it. So thank you for watching. Please, if you like this video, please give me a like and also comment, and also consider subscribing if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.